Hello everyone and welcome back to Fatpack Magic. Today we've got round 2 of the Unified Team Trios event in the Pioneer format, hosted at Darkside Games. Now, this event is huge. There's over 30 people competing for over $600 in a first place prize, so there's all the more reason to play your best. On the top, we've got Ben Friedman playing Mono Red for Team TWC, and on the bottom, we've got Kareem playing Jeskai Vehicles for Darkside employees, the employees of the Darkside Games shop. So he's going to be on the play, and he's going to start off with his Fire Bluff Canal and pass the turn back. But Ben's got a turn 1 play, and here's a Mountain tapped into a Soul Scar Mage. And passes the turn to Kareem. Kareem taps 2, and here is a Heart of Kiran, a flying vigilance 4/4 creature that needs 3 to crew, or it can remove a loyalty counter from a planeswalker to crew it instead. But he passes the turn back to Ben. Ben is looking through, swings 1 at Kareem, bringing him down to 19, but that's all he needs because he's going to pump out a Light Up the Stage, revealing the top 2 cards from his library, and it's a land and a Bomat Courier. Tapping 1, and is he going to go for a burn spell? Nope. Bomat Courier? I mean, might as well play the Bomat Courier, unless he's got another Soul Scar Mage in hand. So he goes for the Bomat Courier, comes in, and Kareem takes his turn. Now he starts off with a Scrap Heap Scrounger, and that's going to crew the Heart of Kiran and swing 4 in at Ben, bringing him down to 16. Kareem passes the turn back to Ben. Ben draws for turn. And plays a land? Taps. What do you got? It's a Gitu Lavamancer. And unfortunately, he needs another spell to give it haste. But it looks like he's got a Bomat Courier and a Ferocious Slash, dealing 2 damage to the Scrap Heap Scrounger, putting 2 spells in the yard for the Gitu Lavamancer, giving the Soul Scar Mage prowess, and Ben crashes in for 6, hiding 2 cards off the top of his library to put under the Bomats, and bringing Kareem down to 13. And that is one heck of a play. But Kareem's got to shock himself, going down to 11. And is the shock worth it? What does he got for such a shock? Tapping 3. And here is the Royal Scions. And Ben asks, what does that do? It's kind of like a worse stack Faden. It's going to draw and discard for +1. Target creature gets +2/+0 and first strike and trample until end of turn. And its ultimate, I don't think it's going to ultimate very often because it looks like it's going to crew up the Heart of Kiran first before going up 1, putting +2/+0 on the Heart, and swinging in at Ben, bringing him down to 10. Now, because that Heart of Kiran has Vigilance, and because there's a Planeswalker in play, that Heart can crew up and provide itself as a blocker. However, with Soul Scar Mage in play, that's a really dangerous option, putting -1/-1 counters on that Heart instead. Ben looks like he's going to attack with a lone Bomat? Nope. He says Bomat at you, and get you, Soul Scar, and the other Bomat at the Royal Scions, effectively gaining Kareem 5 life, which is incredibly relevant against the Mono Red Burn deck. Kareem deciding on whether or not he's going to try and make a block there. If he does, he's going to eat a burn spell for the Heart of Kiran. But is that better than a burn spell at his face? I mean, they're racing at the moment. Kareem making this clutch decision, really thinking, does Ben have the burn spell? And Ben's got a few cards in hand. It doesn't seem like he's out, and just lining up more Bomats to be able to chuck and draw. But Kareem says no effects, no crew. And here's 4 damage. And Ben shoots a Wizard's Lightning at Kareem's face, putting him down to 8. Bomat deals 1 damage to him. The +1/+1 from the Royal Scions is going to deal 5 damage to the Royal Scions. And then Light Up the Stage is going to reveal a Lightning Strike and a ferocious slash off the top of Ben's library. And that's pretty lethal. That is lethal on board, and then some. So Kareem takes his turn. He's not done yet. He's going to play it out. He's going to make Ben make no mistakes and win the game completely. He's drawn for turn. And it looks like on the left, Simic Aggro on the left for Team Darkside Employees has won his game 1 against Jacob Wilson, and they're about to move on to game 2. But back to the main stage, Kareem plays out another Royal Scions, and I guess that's why he was fine with losing the first one. And it looks like he's gonna crew up the he's gonna draw and discard instead. I mean, he does need an answer for whatever Ben is planning to do next turn, and discards a Heart of Huron. Then he crews the Heart of Huron and swings in at Ben for 4. He will have lethal next turn if he can survive this onslaught, because Ben has no flyers, but Ben's end of turn looks really good. Looks really, really good. But Ben takes 4 damage, going down to 6, goes to end of turn. Or no, he goes to a second main phase. And I guess he's counting up damage? Yeah, I mean, that looks like to be what he's doing. I mean, the math doesn't look good for Kareem. That's pretty much it. He's got 5 damage and burn coming out of his phase, and 2 damage from the Bowmats, 2 damage from the Gitu Lava Runner, and then at least 2 damage from the Soulscar Mage, and he can only block 1. So he's looking at 9 damage and can only block 1. So I guess he's gonna just hope that Ben is gonna swing at the Royal Scions. But 4 damage at the end of turn from a Lightning Strike brings Kareem down to 4, and Ben begins his turn, crashes in with everything, puts cards underneath the Bowmat Couriers. Kareem crews up the Heart of Huron, goes to blocks, opts to block the Gitu Lavamancer. That's 3 damage, so yeah, and Ben can just Ferocious Slash for lethal. And that's what he's gonna do. Yep, Ferocious Slash. And Kareem loses game 1 to Ben Friedman's Mono Red build. And we are gonna take a quick look at game 2 from the Simic Aggro and Jacob Wilson's Mono Black Vampires right now. And here we go. Cameron leads Jacob 1-0, playing Simic Aggro, one of the best, most versatile decks in the format, because in Unified Pioneer, you can only have 4 of every card throughout the entire team, and granted, Simic Aggro is going to eat up 4 Okos, but that allows for a lot of deck construction outside of those color pairs. So here we go. Looks like Cameron is going to be on a mulligan, pitching 1 card to the bottom, and he's going to be on the draw, so it kind of evens it out a little bit. But he's got Hydroid Crassus in hand, which can really refuel his hand after going through all of Jacob's removal and trading creatures 1 for 1. But here goes Jacob, playing a Knight of the Even Legion, a 1/2 Vampire Knight. But Cameron's not going to let that slide. He's got his own. It's a Gilded Goose on turn 1, making a food token that, with Oko, can become a 3/3 Elk. But Fatal Push is going to send the Goose to the graveyard, and Jacob swings in for 1 damage, bringing Cameron down to 19, and passes the turn back. Cameron plays his land for turn, and it doesn't look like he has a follow-up for his turn 2, and passes the turn to Jacob. Now, unfortunately, Simic doesn't really have a lot of tricks, so Jacob is fine swinging in and pumping the Knight to give it +3/+3, bringing Cameron down to 14, or 15, and it's going to put a counter on that Knight of the Even Legion. Cameron draws for turn, and it looks like no land and no play. He's got to pass the turn back to Jacob with nothing going except for that 1/3 life-gaining food token. Jacob, tapping 3, plays Soren, the Imperious Bloodlord, and is immediately going to pump the Knight of the Even Legion, swinging in at Cameron, bringing him down to 12, and gaining Jacob 3 life, putting him up to 23. Cameron draws again, and nothing. He is locked on lands and locked on spells, and he's facing down Mutavaults, Soren, and a very chunky Knight of the Even Legion. Jacob activates 2 Mutavaults, but Cameron says that's enough for me, and I can totally understand that. Sometimes you just have to save your mental stamina for the next game, and that's why I like to pile shuffle in between games. It centers me, it's almost like a meditation of sorts. And while they're shuffling, we're gonna take a quick break from our sponsors. Hey guys, I want to give a quick shout out here to Your Playmat. These guys offer fully customizable playmats, card sleeves, and foil playmats. Now, I wouldn't be talking to you guys about these mats unless I personally believed in them. So check this out. Yeah, that is the Mox Jet Altar on the Fat Pack Magic draft videos, and we put that on a mat. And here's the best part. Your Playmat believes in me and believes in my channel, and therefore believes in you guys. So that's why they're doing a special discount code only for Fat Pack Magic YouTube subscribers. Put in the code PPM15 and get 15% off any playmat you order. Foil, regular, anything you're looking for. PPM 15. So what are you guys waiting for? Go make your own mats and show off your style. And we're back. Kareem is going to be on the play, and he's looking over his hand. He says it's good to go, and Ben gives a thumbs up. So Kareem starts off with a Hallowed Fountain tapped and passes the turn back. Ben playing a Mountain and a Soulscar Mage. That's pretty good for a turn 1. But let's see what Kareem's got. Kareem plays a land and goes into a Heart of Kiran, a 4/4 flying artifact crew creature, which is pretty good. I mean, the only thing is that the Soulscar Mage is going to be able to chip away at its toughness, but the Soulscar Mage swings in for 1, and it's not a haymaker, but it's that little point of damage that Ben needs to fire off the Light Up the Stage, getting a Wizard's Lightning and a Magma Spray off the top. And man, in the Mono Red deck, Light Up the Stage is almost always a 1-mana divination, and that's just so strong. That's just so freaking good. Oh man, but looks like Ben is deciding on whether or not he wants to fire off that Wizard's Lightning, or if he wants to play anything else, because there's a lot of decision makings for Red right now. I mean, I guess he could fire off the Wizard's Lightning in case Kareem kills off the Soulscar Mage, but Kareem starts off his turn. And it looks like, yep, he's going to take 2 life to play a Sacred Foundry untapped, and starts a Royal Scions going. And the Royal Scions is pretty strong in this Jeskai Vehicles deck because it's going to be able to loot, and it's going to be able to pump up the creatures, and with the Heart of Kiran, it's going to be able to crew the creatures. So here it goes, Heart of Kiran into play, it will into creature mode. And then Royal Scions pumping it to make it a 6/4. Ben says no blocks, but before damage, he's deciding on whether or not he wants to fire off that Magma Spray. Now the thing is, Magma Spray isn't going to have a lot of targets. It's just not going to be able to do much against the majority of Kareem's deck, especially since it's in Light Up the Stage mode. So here comes Magma Spray, and it's going to deal damage in the form of 2 -1/-1 counters at the Heart of Kiran, and the Heart is going to deal 4 damage to Ben. Ben starts off his turn, draws, and here's a Get to Lava Runner, now a 2/2 haste, and a Ramming Up Ruins for land for turn. But what does Ben want to do? He could go to combat, but he's going to have to start trading stuff against that Heart of Kiran. Thankfully, the Soulscar Mage is going to be able to deal damage in -1/-1 counters. So, here we go. Get You Lava Runner is swinging at Kareem's face, and the Soulscar Mage is swinging at the Royal Scion. Maybe not. Ben doing a little bit of shuffling, trying to decide whether or not he wants to swing both at the face. Really deep in the tank here. Or maybe the Get You at the Royal Scions. He's really thinking, nope, Get You Lava Runner is gonna go to Kareem's face, and it looks like he's deciding on the... Looks like he's deciding that the Soulscar Mage is going to hit the Royal Scions. Yep, that's gonna be the play. Really in-depth thinking here for Ben for the Mono Red deck, and they say Mono Red doesn't have a lot of decision trees. Well, it does, because you have a very amount of limited resources. And here we go. The Royal Scions is going to crew the Heart of Quran. However, Ben is going to have an option before blocks to kill off that heart. Now the question is, does he want to use the Wizard's Lightning to do it, or does he want to wait till blocks and then use the Wizard's Lightning to chip at Kareem's face and chance the Get You Lava Runner? I mean, these are tough choices here, but it looks like Ben is tapping red, and the Wizard's Lightning is gonna untaps for red. Ben really in the tank here for this combat step. Okay, Wizard's Lightning is gonna kill off the Heart of Quran and pump up the Soulscar Mage with prowess. And any effects before damage? I mean, the Soulscar Mage is already going at the Royal Scions, so firing off a Wizard's Lightning at the Royal Scions doesn't seem like the play here, because it's just going to waste a resource that, I mean, is basically gaining Kareem a ton of life in this situation. But he says no effects, damage happens, Kareem goes down to 15, the Royal Scions goes down to 2, and Ben takes a point for the Raminant Ruins, and here comes another Soulscar Mage, evening the life totals at 15 to 15. And now uneven again, because Kareem's going to take 2 life from a Hallowed Fountain, and Declaration in Stone is going to 2-for-1 those tiny little Soulscar Mages, and now it looks like Kareem is going to be able to start deploying some threats. Kareem making another Heart of Quran, and I mean, he's got 2 cards in hand, and that looting ability off the Royal Scion seems pretty good right now, because it's going to allow him to block next turn as well. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to draw and discard. But does Kareem have something awesome to discard? Yep, it's an excess land, hitting the bin and hopefully getting Kareem a little bit more gassed. Ben starts off his turn, and this is not a good situation for him. He's going to have to chump away at the Get You Lava Runner, and Kareem crews up the Heart of Quran. Oh man, is Ben going to have to 2-for-1 himself to get rid of that heart? Oh, this is not the situation you want to be in Mono Red. Looks like Ben tapping 2, tapping 3. Here's a Ferocious Slash and a Lightning Strike, killing off that heart, but it's also the Get You Lava Runner is going to be able to kill off the Royal Scions as Kareem draws for turn. Basically, Kareem just time-walked Ben and ate up an attack phase and 2 of his cards with that single Heart of Quran. Man, that's definitely not where you want to be in Mono Red, because here comes Kareem, Savage Stomping that Get You Lava Runner and leaving a Bone Crusher Giant in an adventure mode, as Ben starts off his turn having to draw for a clue token, plays his land for turn, and passes back to Kareem. Now, Ben still has 1 clue token and 2 mana up, so he could draw again, but still, that's just Time Walk land, and I mean, Kareem, this is the chance where Kareem could really close in and could really close in on Ben stalling out on lands and spells. So Kareem casts the Bone Crusher Giant, Ben draws a card off the clue token, draws for turn. Now he's got a little bit of a grip here, but a lot of it just seems like lands in hand. He's got 5 mana, which is quite an excess for the Mono Red deck. And it looks like he's got to light up the stage, but he's going to point a Wizard's Lightning at the Bone Crusher Giant, which is going to deal 2 damage to Ben from the Bone Crusher Giant's ability. And that seems to be all that Ben can do for turn. Wow. Kareem draws. This is his chance. Ben has looked pretty stalled out on resources. So now here comes Teferi, which is, it's okay. Teferi's okay. I don't think it's going to do much here. Kareem is playing a Teferi on an open board, and Ben is going to start up with a light up the stage at a more fair and reasonable cost of 3 mana. But he reveals a Bone Crusher Giant and a land, which is, the Bone Crusher Giant is great. Land for turn is okay. But here's 2 mana, and looks like he's going to cast that Bone Crusher Giant into an adventure. And it's going to deal 2 damage to Teferi, bringing Teferi down to 3. And now he's going to play up the Soulscar Mage. So now Teferi can't bounce the Soulscar, but I don't think Kareem is too worried about that. He needs a threat. He needs some threat, because unfortunately a lot of the burn has been going at Kareem's creatures, which saves his life total, but he needs to get ahead on board before Ben drops something that he just can't deal with. Kareem tapping 2. And it's another Declaration Stone, giving Ben another clue token, but here's 2 more mana into a Scrappy Scrounger, and then plussing the Teferi to 4, meaning that Teferi can bounce next turn without any interference. A land for turn, and Kareem passes back to Ben. Seems both players have kind of stalled out here, and now all it's going to take is just one little chunk of advantage before one can take control of the game. Ben starts off his turn drawing with the clue token, and doesn't look too amazing. Here's 3 mana into the Bone Crusher Giant, a 4/3 that is going to deal damage if Kareem targets it with a spell. However, it doesn't look like it's going to be able to do much here. I mean, Kareem could bounce it, and then Ben would have access to another Stomp ability and could kill off the Scrappy Scrounger, because right now Kareem doesn't have a way to make the Scrounger come back. But here's another Royal Scions, and it's going to give the Scrappy Scrounger +2/+0, first strike and trample until end of turn. And it can start crashing in, dealing 5 damage to Ben, and putting Ben on a much shorter clock. And Teferi goes a-bouncing the Bone Crusher Giant, and now Ben can't adventure it at end of turn. But here's a Spire of Industry for Kareem, meaning that he can tap for black mana now and bring back that Scrap Heap Scrounger. Ben lining up his lands. He's drawn a lot of lands, and he's got another one in hand. It's 8 lands from the Mono Red deck, which usually plays around 20 to 22. So that's a lot. And Ben has drawn quite a few cards with that light up the stage. Ben deciding on whether or not he wants to stomp that Scrap Heap Scrounger, or if he wants to kill off Teferi. Seems like Teferi could be a much bigger threat, just being able to draw cards every few turns, and preventing Ben from doing any instant speed tricks. But that's the chance that Ben had to take with bouncing with Teferi. He at least drew a card off of it. So here comes 2 mana. Savage Stomp is going to crush Teferi, and then Ben is just going to cast it again. And Ben passes the turn back. Green draws for turn. He can pump up that Scrounger and make it a 5/2 again, and really put the pressure on Ben. Green going over his options. Does he want to loot? I mean, he could swing in with the regular Scrounger and loot this turn and put Ben on roughly the same 2-turn clock. And that looks like what he's going to do. He's going to loot with the Scrounger, or excuse me, the Royal Scions, discarding another excess land. Here's 1 mana into a Bomat Courier. And that Bomat might just, help Kareem get some extra card advantage here. So he's swinging in, trigger off the Bomat. Bomat gets a card underneath. The Bonecrusher Giant is going to block the Bomat, and a Wizard's Lightning is going to nuke the Scrap Heap Scrounger. They go to damage, and a Magma Spray is going to chew up the Bonecrusher Giant. But Kareem forgot to... Well, no, he couldn't use it because the Heart of Charon are artifacts, they're not creatures. So he couldn't have done it anyways. Well, no, I mean, he could have if he floated the black and then after damage. I don't know. That's a really weird rules question, but it looks like the Scrap Heap Scrounger is not going to be able to come back. Too much time has passed, and Ben starts his turn, dropping a land, and here's a Bonecrusher Giant, another one, dealing 2 damage to the Royal Scions, and casting it out, and playing his land for turn, and passing back to Kareem. Now, Kareem is facing down a 4/3 Giant, and it looks like he's not drawing a big threat for the turn. He loots off the Royal Scions. What can he pitch? I mean, it's a land. Alright, he can definitely pitch a land. But unfortunately, he doesn't have access to black mana to bring back that Scrap Heap Scrounger. Ben lining up his lands. Oh, here we go. So Ben has a couple of Castle Embreaths, and this is how he's going to take out the Royal Scions. Ben goes to combat. Kareem says no blocks. Effects? Castle Embreath. Castle Embreath. And the Royal Scions go down to a 6/3 Giant that crushes him in 1 turn. But man, I can't help but wonder if Ben wished they were just more burn spells rather than lands. Kareem taps 3, leaving the Spire of Industry untapped. And it's another Royal Scions, number 3. And it looks like he's going to draw looks like he's tapping his mana. Better. Into a Bomat Courier. There we go. Royal Scions plussing the Bomat Courier. Ben deciding on whether or not this is okay. That's a tough call. Does he want to let the Bomat Courier exile the top card off the library? Does he care about it? Ben really in the tank here. He says, okay, resolves. Kareem goes to combat. Declares attacks. 3 with the Bomat Courier. Bomat trigger on the stack. In response, Lightning Strike is going to hit the Bomat Courier. And in response to that, Kareem is going to take 1 damage from the Spire of Industry, floating black mana, and he's going to bring back his Scrap Heap Scrounger. Well, with one of the Bomat Couriers goes to exile from the Scrap Heap Scrounger, and then the top card of the library goes into exile face down as well. And now, Kareem has a 3/2 Scrap Heap Scrounger, and Ben has a potential of 6 damage with 2 Castle Embreaths, and they've really got a race. But it looks like Experimental Frenzy is going to be the play for the turn, and this can just be a huge blowout. Land off the top, and looks like another land off the top. Oh man, Ben has just seen so many lands. But he's got to go in. They got to race. Is he going to go for the Royal Scions? No, he's going to go for the face. He's got so much burn left in his deck, and pumping his Giant with the Castle Embreath, dealing 5 damage to Kareem. Kareem lands at 5. This is it, boys. This is the turn. Kareem needs something. That experimental frenzy can just go off and be explosive. What has Kareem drawn for turn? Kareem needs some kind of damage here. Because the top of Ben's deck is just so live right now. Kareem looks like he's tapping 3. It's another Planeswalker. It's Teferi. That may not be what Kareem needs to see right now. He needs something else. I mean, I guess he could bounce something and hope to draw something else, because if he bounces the Bone Crusher Giant, that's going to allow Ben to deal 2 damage to Kareem, leaving Kareem at 3, and then there's a Ramming Up Ruins waiting in the wings for another 2 damage, and then all Ben would need would be like some kind of burn spell off the top to finish off this game. And Experimental Frenzy can dig through 3-4 cards a turn with the Mono Red deck. And Ben has seen so many lands that it's definitely plausible that there's just tons of burn sitting around in some kind of chunk in there. You know, like how you have a land pocket, there could be a burn pocket waiting in the wings for Ben. But here we go. Teferi bounces the Bone Crusher Giant. The Royal Scions pump up the Savage Skypeep Scrounger, dealing 5 damage to Ben. And Kareem finishes off his turn with a Heart of Huron. But Ben draws for turn. He's got a ton of lands. Here's a Lightning Strike. Kareem's at 2. That's exactly what Ben needed. And a Wizard's Lightning off the top, just in case. And that is the match for Kareem and Ben, and the win for the team for TWC, and they are going to go on to the next round of this Team Unified Trios Pioneer event. But that's it for us this time on Fat Pack Magic. Make sure you click that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and hit that like button to make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. You can also check out special behind the scenes footage on Instagram, and if you like the content and you want to support it, check us out on Patreon. We've got a whole new revamped Patreon page with grab bags, unstable lands, and exclusive playmats that you can only find on the Fat Pack Magic Patreon tiers. But until next time, may all your packs be fat.